What's going on, YouTube? JT is Reborn here, back again with another car video to talk about the next episode of our Marvel Rewatch. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about Thor Ragnarok. Okay, so Thor Ragnarok. Upon rewatching this, I really enjoyed this film. However, there are issues with it, and we'll get to those. Like a lot of the same issues in Spider-Man Homecoming. But let's talk about the positives of Thor Ragnarok first. The visuals. Finally, we get a good Thor movie. A Thor movie I really quite thoroughly enjoy. It's really two movies rolled into one, and like you kind of forget that one movie is happening, and that's not necessarily a good thing. Because what happens is Thor comes back home to Asgard. He's waiting for Ragnarok to happen, which is the destruction of Asgard altogether. Odin's dying. When he dies, we come to find out that they had an older sister named Hela, the goddess of death. She shows up, played by Thor's older sister, played by Cate Blanchett, shows up, and she looks pretty darn good in this movie, I'm not going to lie. And she comes there to unleash terror, to take over Asgard. Thor and Loki try to head back, and they get knocked off to like another planet, where we get movie number 2 happening, which is Planet Hulk. And that's the more entertaining film, where we go kind of cosmic, and it kind of just becomes like a goofy Guardians of the Galaxy type movie. But in all honesty, I enjoyed this a bit more. We get some great fucking visuals. Like the visuals in this movie are outstanding. Like the scene with the Valkyrie, the action sequences are really good. The music choices, Taika Waititi, or however you pronounce his name, I think he really delivered an entertaining Thor movie. The first Thor movie where I'm like, okay, I can go back and watch Ragnarok. This one's entertaining. However, I feel like if you really like the first 2 Thor movies, this one may not do it. So if you're more of a fan of the more serious type of Thor movies, like in the first 2, well, granted the first 2 movies had humor, but they were more cringeworthy. This one's very, very different in tone. It's more cosmic, it's more colorful. The villain is really hammy over the top, and I kind of enjoyed her. But you do forget that she's there. The movie doesn't really give a shit about the 2 previous Thor films, like, at all. The emotions are completely, like, taken out of this film. Like, Odin dying, I didn't really feel it. I didn't feel it at all. They really brush off, like, the previous movies, which is kind of enjoyable because they're not very good. Jane Foster and that's not in it, which is great. Natalie Portman and, like, Kat Dennings and her crew are a complete drag on these films. They're not in it at all. Thor's just like, yeah, I broke up with her. And I'm like, oh, cool, good. You got rid of the dead weight of these movies. Fantastic. So, yeah, she's no longer in them. The Warriors 3 are just killed off instantly. Like, the movie doesn't give a shit about them. So, I mean, if you're a fan of them, yeah, it kind of brushes them off like they're nothing. I'm sure Jamie Alexander's character, Lady Sif, would have died, too, if she had been in this film, but she's not in it really at all. Idris Elba's still in there as Heimdall. He's clearly phoning it in. Like, you can obviously tell he just does not really want to be there. He's just like, yeah, I'm just kind of there because. Tom Hiddleston is still Loki. He's still having a good time. Chris Hemsworth is having more fun than ever being Thor in this film. Like, this is the one I think he, like, enjoyed doing the most by far. They cut his hair so he doesn't have to wear that ridiculous wig. He fights the Hulk. Hulk's pretty funny in this one. Jeff Goldblum is great, being as quirky as ever, playing the Grandmaster, who's the brother of Benicio del Toro's The Collector. And I really need a scene with those two in them together. I think that'd be great. Tessa Thompson's really good in here as Valkyrie. She's much more interesting than like any of the other female leads in the Thor movies. She's more interesting than Jane Foster. She's way more interesting than Lady Sif. She's pretty good, and she's like this like drunk alcoholic type character who has like kind of like a relationship with the Hulk. Issues I do have: the comedy doesn't always work. For instance, this character named Korg, played by Taika Waititi, tries to be funny, and it just comes across as annoying and cringeworthy. The comedy is both a blessing and a curse, because there's a lot of stuff that's really funny in this film, and then there's some stuff that really, really hurts the movie at times. For instance, when Asgard is destroyed, there's no way to it. This is fucking Asgard. This is what we followed for years. This is like Ragnarok, where it's completely destroyed. As soon as it's blown up, we get a joke about it. And the jokes there aren't really, really funny. And it really takes you out of the scene. Like, this is supposed to be Asgard. There's a time for humor, and then there's a time for not. Where it's like, well, at least the foundation will be there. Asgard gets completely blown up, which can be funny. But I'm like, this is Asgard. We had some emotional stake in this. And, like, it's getting destroyed. Like, I should care more. But no, you're trying to make me laugh. Like, haha, laugh at us. Laugh at our jokes. And I'm like, no. There's a time for humor, and then there's a time for, like, some serious emotions. This film doesn't really have any serious emotions. Like, the characters die, that's kind of it. Like, it's nothing really. But the jokes are funny. I found a lot of them funnier than some of the stuff in Guardians 2, but, yeah. So let's talk about some more negatives. The Hulk, I feel like post Age of Ultron did some real damage to Bruce Banner, where he just became kind of the brunt of, like, a lot of jokes. And it works in Thor Ragnarok because it's like a buddy cop type movie between him and, you know, Hulk. But post this, like, the Hulk kind of became, well, he lost that, like, animal instinct that I felt like the Hulk had in the first two Avengers movies. Like, he kind of just became more of a joke. And especially this carries over into Infinity War, where the Hulk's really pathetic. But Hulk works in this film, but he doesn't really work kind of after this. This is kind of like the starting point of, like, the damaging, like, stuff done to the Hulk, like, character. And I didn't really like that bit to it. But there are some funny bits in here. There's some great action sequences. The music is pretty good. And, like, the soundtrack, like, the score itself is more, like, 80s, like, synthesizer type music. And then you also have some good soundtrack, like Led Zeppelin in there. With Thor, like, wreaking havoc and unleashing hell. And then at the end of the movie, they cause Ragnarok to destroy his sister. Thor loses an eye, which is kind of immediately just brushed over when he meets the Guardians and they give him another eye. So I don't really know what the point in doing so was. I guess to make him more like Odin, but now he's got another eye. I guess that's just like, okay, you got another eye you can see with, so good for you, Thor. Whatever. But, yeah. Alright, I think that's all I have to say about Thor Ragnarok. You can watch my original video down below. I actually haven't rewatched it, so I don't know what my initial thoughts were, but I remember being like, okay, this is the first good Thor movie. I think I still had some of the same criticisms, but Thor Ragnarok is one I could put on and rewatch a lot more than some of these other MCU films. I think it's very entertaining. Yes, a lot of the comedy can take you out of it, and I totally understand people who don't really like it. I really do. But compared to the other first two Thor films, I'll watch this one 100 times over before wanting to put on Thor: The Dark World or the original Thor, because at least it's entertaining. At least it's entertaining. It's got some good action, some good humor. There's some stuff worth watching in this film, so yeah. Alright, that's all I'm going to say about this film. Thanks so much for watching. Take care now. Bye-bye then.